know who we are. You know who we are. We are QPR.
Sunday, the 26th of November 2023, was a sad day for football, and especially QPR fans, after the passing of the legendary Terry Venables was announced. This video will look back at his time at Loftus Road, focusing on his time as a player at Rangers. He was a great footballer, a great manager, as well as being a pop singer, an author, a TV scriptwriter, a board game inventor, and owner of a West End nightclub. It was certainly a life very well lived. Now, Terry had already had a successful playing career before joining Rangers. He made a name for himself at Chelsea, where he helped them win promotion to the top flight in 1963. He soon became captain and gained 2 caps for England, becoming the first and only player to represent England at schoolboy, youth, amateur, under-23 and full level. He scored 26 goals in 202 league outings from midfield, and he helped Chelsea to win the League Cup in 1965. Plus, he reached 2 consecutive FA Cup semi-finals before being transfer listed. In 1966, Terry made the move across London to Spurs and faced his former side in the FA Cup final, with Spurs beating Chelsea 2-1. Sadly, Terry never really received recognition at Spurs, as his style of play didn't really suit with the Spurs team at the time, and he soon left for newly relegated QPR in 1969. Venables was happy to drop down a division to get more regular football and be somewhere he was going to be loved. Les Allen said that he was the missing link for QPR, whilst Terry himself saw it as a real opportunity.
QPR had a lot of young players themselves, a team that was coming through, and I felt, well, I may have to go down a division to find a little bit out about myself. And I went there, and I struck up a great relationship with the players immediately, and a good friendship with Rodney Marsh. We were very competitive. We were always trying to get one over on each other, which was good on and off the field.
Rodney Marsh was captain at the time and delighted to see Venables join.
I thought he was a terrific player, Terry. And I think he'd be the first to admit that when he went to Spurs, he had a bad time. For whatever reasons, he didn't perform anywhere near as he did at Chelsea, or I thought he could. And Jim Gregory agreed, and he saw that, and we signed Terry Venables. And from the first day that he came here, I think he was the component that the team needed. And as I say, within a year, he'd taken over the captaincy from me, and QPR were a very, very exciting, great footballing team in those days, yeah.
He spoke about his move to QPR in the brilliant Loftus Road Legends book. He said, "I felt at home straight away at QPR. I thought it was great, and I had a really good time there. I thought that stage in my career was great for me, possibly almost as good as at Chelsea, especially the way I slotted in to play with Rodney Marsh and Barry Bridges. It was great to be able to find myself again. I had a wonderful time at QPR." It was a big transfer fee at the time for QPR, with the club paying a club record £70,000 for his services. But he felt no pressure and tells a story of how he came to the club's attention. "It was funny. I played against QPR when I was at Tottenham, and Bobby Keach was a really good friend of mine and was a very hard player back then. He was really tough, and he'd always go for you. Anyway, during the game, there was no doubt that he was going to do me, and the ball come to me, and I could see him coming towards me, so I just put my foot high. I didn't move. I just waited for him to hit me. I kept my foot there, and he went straight for it, and the stretcher had to be brought on for him. He called me everything under the sun. After the game, I went in to see how he was, but before I went into the dressing room, all I could hear was swearing from inside. So I knocked on the door, opened it, and saw Jim Gregory talking to him. So I said, 'Bob, are you okay?' He went right into one. 'Okay? Am I okay? Does it look like I'm effing okay? Look at my bloody leg.' I said, 'Yeah, okay, Bob. I'll speak to you later then. Sorry about that.' Then he just went into one again. So I said, 'Look, I can see it's not a good time.' All the other QPR players were laughing, so I walked away. It was only a little while after that I signed for QPR. And I remember Jim Gregory said to me that Keachy had told him that they had to sign me because of the front I had, putting him first on a stretcher and then coming in to see if I was all right. In his first season at QPR, the hope was for an instant return to the top flight, and Venables played a big role for the team as we made a flying start to that season, winning 4 of the first 5 games. Venables grabbed his first QPR goal from the penalty spot in a 6-1 win over Blackpool. He had a battle on his hands to take the penalty duty away from Rodney Marsh, but in his first season he scored 7 goals for the team from the penalty spot. On scoring so many from the spot, Terry said, "Well, you would do if you had Rodney in the team with you. When I arrived, I took about 10 penalties in a fairly short space of time, and Rodney got them all. It was embarrassing, really. He had this knack of kicking himself and going up in the air, and he used to shout, 'Penalty!' I used to think, oh no, not another one." Venables scored 13 goals from the spot in his time at QPR. Only Stan Bowles and Terry Venables have scored more penalties for QPR in the club's history.
He didn't slam them, he hit them hard and firm, and he chose his spot. And he would stick them bottom left, he'd stick them bottom right, but that's normally what he would do, and he would put it beyond the keeper's reach. And he had a very good scoring record, as you know, from penalties, and he was again very confident. If there's one thing Terry Venables didn't lack, either on the pitch or off it, it was confidence.
Venables helped QPR reach the quarter-finals of the FA Cup, where they faced his old side Chelsea at Loftus Road. Venables scored from the spot, but he couldn't prevent a 4-2 defeat as Chelsea went on to win the cup that year. It was a disappointing end to that season as we drifted away from the promotion places, and manager Les Allen was coming under a bit of pressure. He would be replaced the following year by Gordon Jago, but Terry enjoyed playing for both managers. The arrival of Jago saw results improve, and a new style of football came in, with more emphasis on passing and possession-based football. Another change was Jago seeing potential in Venables, giving him his first taste of coaching. In Venables' own words, he said, "I was captain at the time, so Gordon started asking me to go out and warm the players up before training. It started off just being once or twice when he said he was busy in the office, and then it would become an everyday occurrence. Eventually, I turned around and said to him, 'Gordon, don't you think it's about time you got someone in?' Because it was happening every day. And he said, 'No, don't worry, it's all right. By the way, have you got £5 I can borrow?' I replied, 'Sure, no problem.' And I gave him the £5 as he walked away. Anyway, about 4 weeks went by, and I hadn't seen the return of my fiver. Then before another game, he went into another one of his rousing speeches. He said, 'I won't be happy until every player here is a top man. I want every one of you to have a Rolls Royce.' Well, I just couldn't resist. I popped up. 'Never mind the Rolls Royce, Gordon. Where's my bloody fiver?' I never did get it back, but it was worth it for that joke." Many fans who watched Venables at the time feel he played the best football of his career at Rangers. Legendary forward Rodney Marsh certainly agrees.
Terry Venables' biggest strengths were knowing his capabilities and the selection of what he did, both when he was in possession and when he didn't have possession. Not a lot of players make the right decisions most of the time, and Terry did. There was times when Terry and I would actually dictate what happened on the field without, I hate to say this, without the manager knowing. Because we would arrange, agree to do certain things on corner kicks and free kicks, which were against what the manager was doing in practice. We were both winners, always wanted to win. And I got angry when I didn't win, and Terry got very analytical. We all knew at that stage that he was going to go on to become a tremendous coach.
Rangers went close to promotion with Venables as captain in the 71-72 season, finishing fourth, just 2 points off automatic promotion, although Venables did miss the run-in through injury. The sale of Rodney Marsh saw QPR look to bring in a new maverick flair player, and the arrival of Stan Bowles heralded a new beginning at the club.
I met him in a hotel in Burnley. The first impression I got of him was that he was always very smart, smartly dressed. I just came down from up north, all like an old rag bag, and there was Mr. Venables with his blazer on. I'd never seen a blazer until that time, actually. We used to do coaching after training. Terry would take that, give up his time to coach players after training. I was in a rush to get to the betting shop, but even I stayed sometimes.
The new look QPR side had evolved under Jago, with Venables as captain and won promotion back to the top flight in 1973. Venables was enjoying his football and had one last go at playing in the top flight.
Rangers didn't start that season brilliantly, with just one win in the first 8 games, but Venables could see how good the team was going to be as the team went from strength to strength.
Now we've had 5 games at home now, Brian, and we've had 5 draws. I think the main thing, as long as we're picking up points, I'm not very happy with the amount of points we're picking up, really, but at the same time, I'm very pleased with the way we're playing. We're putting it together, we're playing it with plenty of style, and I feel as long as we have plenty of belief in ourselves, that we'll have no problems.
What is the missing link, do you think, now?
I don't think there's any missing.
Played so much good stuff today again.
Yeah, I don't think there's any missing link, Brian. I think with a bit of luck, we could have had the other goal once or twice there. But very, very proud of the way the team played. You know, I think many of the boys are young lads, and they was a bit worried they would be out of their company in the first division. But now, after 10 games, I don't think they've got any problems at all. No worries whatsoever.
You could see there was something special about him, with the innovative free kicks he used as a player, which we'd see a lot more of when he became manager. In a home game against Coventry, he had all the tricks, with this lovely flick over the wall, confusing the defence as Terry Francis finished it off. Venables would then later get one himself, with the Coventry defence unsure what trick he was about to play from this set piece. He bamboozled them and just floated one into the top corner before walking away laughing. Venables spoke about those free kicks in the Loftus Road Legends book, saying, "I remember we used to do this free kick routine where we used to lift the ball straight over the wall, and Jerry used to just volley in the net. They were always good. But you could get away with a lot more then because you weren't on the telly every game, and there weren't any action replays showing every single incident."
I think that Terry Venables is playing exceptionally well, probably the best he's ever played. Parks doesn't seem to make any mistakes. They don't let any goals into the back. And the front three keep scoring.
Yeah.
They're playing tremendous.
A lot of people impressed by the quick wits of Terry Venables, I think, and certainly Rangers' second goal yesterday was a beautiful illustration of that. The little flick over the wall, Gordon. Have you scored many goals like that?
Yes, I think we've 5 to my recollection in the end of last season and this season already. And as you say, Terry is very quick-witted, and we have a number of free kicks. This is one of them.
His influence on the training pitch was growing, as Stan Bowles recalled in his autobiography. Stan said, "At the training ground in the mornings, Terry Venables organised all our little sessions, and Gordon Jago would arrive about an hour after we started. At the end of the session, when Gordon went off to work in the office, Terry would take 3 or 4 of us, Don Givens, Jerry, probably Dave Thomas and me, and show us some little tricks of the trade. Terry always said, 'Do what you've got to do, but this might help you along the way a little bit.' He was very good at that. You have to make your own decisions on the field, but little things did crop up where I thought, yeah, Terry did mention that in training, and he was really good at putting things in your mind. That's why he made such a brilliant manager." Venables loved working with both Stan Bowles and Jerry Francis, describing how he got them playing together in his autobiography. He spoke about how he watched Pelé playing for Brazil and how the Brazilians would work on double 1-2s, where an extra pass would surprise the opposition and leave a player free to burst through on goal. It had never been used in English football before, and Venables would sit back in a deeper midfield role and watch Francis and Bowles do what he had shown them on the training field to absolute perfection on the match day.
Perhaps we've been left behind a little bit, so with concentrating a lot on running, etc. So what they were doing now a lot of is players having a ball each and really just getting to know the ball, getting the feel of it. So that the first touch of the ball is a good one, so you kill it dead. We think from there that you create a lot more space with the ball, and these are the type of exercises we're doing now.
Yeah, I think he had particularly a big influence on Jerry Francis. Francis has actually acknowledged that, but I think he was a big influence on Jerry. I think he made a difference to Stan Bowles' game as well. I seem to remember in Stan's book he does give Terry credit for helping him with his game. But yeah, he was very much a team player, and I think he influenced people like Terry Mancini as well, because Mancini, regarded himself as kind of lucky to be at Rangers, assumed that as soon as we would get promoted in 72-73 that he would be transferred off and they'd upgrade. But he actually had a great season in 73-74, so much so he ended up playing for the Republic of Ireland.
Rangers' first season back in the top flight saw us finish an impressive 8th in the league, with Venables playing a big part, starting 36 games that season and scoring twice. We also reached the FA Cup quarter-finals again, losing this time to Leicester City. QPR have reached the last 8 in the FA Cup on just 8 occasions in our history, and as a player and manager, Venables was involved in 3 of those 8.
73-4 was a great season. I think we finished 8th. I was disappointed with that. We should have qualified for Europe that year. We should have done better in the FA Cup. I mean, the infamous Joe Waters game in the quarter-final was a massive kick in the teeth. Everybody thought we were going to beat Leicester and go through to the semi and possibly even the final, and we would have done so deservedly as well, you know, because it was an excellent team. I think the 73-4 team is one of the most underrated Rangers teams there is.
He was coming towards the end of his career, though, and left QPR in 1974. He spoke about his departure in his autobiography, saying, "I knew I was coming to the end of my playing career during a match against Chelsea, when I had to face a young player I used to work with when he was a kid, Alan Hudson. The boy was now a man, and he left me standing. It was a moment of some soul searching, with my mind turning over and asking, 'Is it time, Terry? Is it time?' What I didn't know was that Jim Gregory had the same thought. He also supplied the answer, which was transfer me. My only regret was neither he nor Gordon Jago got in touch beforehand, but the deal was Crystal Palace, managed by Malcolm Allison, would sell Don Rogers to QPR, and Ian Evans and I would move to Palace. Rangers were aware of the problem I had with arthritis in my ankle, but what they did not realise, ironically, was that my replacement, Don, was struggling with arthritis in his knee. They were replacing a dodgy ankle with a dodgy knee. So Venables' time as a player had come to an end, and looking back at his time, it was an eventful one. He played 206 times in total for QPR, scoring 22 goals, 18 of those coming at Loftus Road. That included 177 appearances in the league, 29 in the cup competitions. He twice reached the quarterfinals of the FA Cup and won promotion to the top flight. If his time at QPR had ended there, he'd go down as one of the greats at Loftus Road, but his time at the club was far from over. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a like and subscribe to the channel.
Oh, why do you want to make those eyes at me for? If they don't mean what they say. They make me glad, they make me sad, they make me want a lot of things that I've never had. You're fooling around with me now. Well, you lead me on and then you run away. Well, that's alright, I'll get you alone some night, and baby you'll find you're messing with dynamite. So why do you want to make those eyes at me for? If they don't mean what they say. Oh, why do you want to make those eyes at me for? If they don't mean what they say. They make me glad, they make me sad, they make me want a lot of things that I've never had. You're fooling around with me now. You lead me on and then you run away. Well, that's alright, I'll get you alone some night, and baby you'll find you're messing with dynamite. So why do you want to make those eyes at me for? If they don't mean what they say. You're fooling around with me now. a lonesome night, and baby, you'll find you're messing with dynamite. So what do you wanna make